Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Gary's Paint and Body Shop Shawn Jones Show, where we cover everything on Rebel Hill with the South Greene Rebels football team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Shawn Jones. Coach,
let's see.
How you doing this afternoon?
Doing fine. No warm outside, but this is not humid, so
That's
we're doing
true.
good. So we're all right.
The first week or the first interview, I think we had cut off Shawn. The second time we sat down, I think we had shoe with Shawn. We've got a mix of both today.
Yeah.
They can't see the
shoe. People don't understand when you got a grass field, you got to work on it. So when I get done this interview, I'm going straight to the lawnmower because I got to start painting tomorrow. So I don't have my shoes on. I've taken my coaching shoes off in there because I had no socks on out there practice, and Jackie Tweed and my buddies will be jawing me for what I got on, but I don't care. So
Do you coach out there sometimes during practice with no shoes on?
No, I've never done that. I'll tell you what I did do. We was at camp in Carson Newman this summer, and I blew a flip-flop out.
Oh, no.
And so I'm out there on the turf. I said, I'll be fine. Well, about an hour, I had to go find some other shoes. But I did run around for about an hour without shoes on there. Turf. Brand new turf, nice and soft. But some kids said, Coach, can I ask you why you got your shoes off? I said, well, I had my flip-flops on, and one broke, and they're over in the trash can. So I went and got one of my kids' shoes that was out there playing. So, if I could, I'd coach barefoot. I'd be at school barefoot.
It feels great outside.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the way I always am. Even during the summer, I go without shoes as much as I can. So, but if I could coach with it and go to school with it and teach with it, I'd be barefoot.
Especially out there on that grass. It's soft, cools you down a little bit. It feels nice.
It's nice, yeah.
I will admit, if I could go out there and I could cover games on the sidelines without shoes on too, I'd do the same.
Yeah, I mean, there was a journalist here a few years ago, which is a flip-flops year-round. That ain't the same.
Yeah.
It's being barefoot.
I think I know who you're talking about, too.
Yeah. Ain't the same as being barefoot. So, he tried to be cool with it, but he wasn't.
It was close.
Yeah.
I'm sure you had a good weekend, though. Rebels won Friday night, the Vols won Saturday, and you got a Cowboys win on Sunday.
Yeah, when them Cowboys win, that really tops off the weekend. I always enjoy us winning on Friday night, and then UT wins, but really the way everybody jaws about the Cowboys, I always enjoy when they win. So it was a real good weekend. I'd like to have more of those this year.
3 for 3 this weekend. Started off with the win on Friday night, of course, with your team. Went up to Cumberland Gap. Picked up a 42-0 victory for your first Region 1 2A victory of the year. We'll jump right into that also. Allowed them to only 41 yards of total offense all night. You spit out 262 yards of offense. Didn't allow them to get past the 50-yard line, I think, in the whole first half. Maybe all game, but talk about that and talk about how impressed you were with how your boys played on Friday night.
Well, the stats are misleading because everybody says we didn't have much yardage, but we was never. I mean, they were punting to us, and we were on their side of the 50, and most of the night in the first half, and we called the dogs off early. We put our second quarterback out there with the first bunch at the end of the first half, and then we let our ones play the first series, the second half, and got them out. And the impressive part was the younger guys played the whole second half on defense and held them scoreless. So that was a big deal. They were young. We knew that. And what's tough about coaching, if you got a team that on film doesn't look real great, and you talk to people that are not real great, but it's hard to prepare because your kids see it when you show them film, and it's really hard to try to convince them that you still got to go show up and play. And they did Friday night. That was coming off the Crockett loss, and we he was worried about practice last week. We had great practice last week, and they were focused and ready to go. We returned to the opening kickoff. That was big. That's kind of set the tone early when we did that. So those kind of games you like to have. You don't have many of those in two-way football, but it was good to get that kind of game the other night.
Speaking of that opening kickoff, too, Tripp Neese, 74 yards. That set the tone, as you mentioned, and from there on, you never looked back. Never trailed, of course, never let them score, and he had that 74-yard kickoff return touchdown. And he had 4 rushes for 47 yards and 3 total touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 1 for 48 yards out, and then 1 from just 1 yard out. He was the one that, of course, scored the most on Friday night, and I think he was the one that impressed everybody the most on Friday night, because when you run that opening kickoff back and when you're able to score twice more for a trio of touchdowns, that's a pretty terrific night.
Yeah, and that's what we thought we had coming into the season. Tripp stepped up when Nash got hurt last year, so we knew we had a good 1-2 punch with the running backs, and it's going to show. I mean, I think sometime this year in a big game, both those guys are going to step up because they're both very capable. And Nash had a punt return for a touchdown that got called back on a block in the back. So he played well too. I think he had around 100 yards rushing. So and again, it's tough. You want to get those those guys. I mean, kids are kids. They want their stats and all that stuff. But it's tough when you got a team that you're better than and you just don't want to embarrass them. So it's tough to know when to get those guys out. And we felt like we did that. And those guys understand. That's a good thing about it. They understand about their playing time and what they're going to get in that kind of game. So it was good to get the young guys in, get them experience also on Friday night.
Nash could have had the same. He could have had a special teams touchdown and then 2 touchdowns on the ground. He had 2 total touchdowns on the night. He only had 3 touches, but 2 of those touches, of course, went into the end zone. 87 total yards. He had 1 touchdown from 12 out, 1 touchdown from 65 out, and, of course, that punt return that scored but was called back. Like you mentioned, though, it's tough whenever you don't have the yardage that you're used to because, of course, you're starting on such a short field each time. But, man, what an efficient night he had. He only touched the ball 3 times, and 2 of those went into the end zone. 1, of course, from 65 also. That one was 12, so I guess in 3 touches. The other one, if my math is correct, had to have been 10. So first down every time he touched the ball.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was first down every time he touched the ball. So that was good. Good to see those guys do that. And pretty much when you do stuff like that, you're doing what you're supposed to do. You're taking the reps that you get, and you're very successful. I think we just punted one time, and it was because we had a screw up on a blocking assignment, and it was still wasn't terrible. So we're excited to come into Chuckey-Doak with that big win and ready to move on.
And then you got Jacob Susong also, who led you in that first half. And I know you mentioned that you replaced him at the end of the first half, but when he was in the game, 4 for 6, 131 yards and a rushing touchdown. All 3 of those had a great night, but without that O-line up front, they don't have near the success that they had. We don't talk about the O-line enough too, and they don't get the glory that they deserve. How impressed were you with how the O-line played?
Well, we really were, and even going back to Crockett, the O-line graded out really well. They're playing well. It's just. And I tell them all the time, they're the unsung heroes, and Nash and those other guys will tell you they don't go without the line, and so they played really well, and they're going to have to continue to do that all year if we want to continue to win. So we're excited about those guys up front. They're playing really well right now and opening up holes and giving Susong time to throw the ball. The thing about throwing the ball, we haven't done it much this year. One, we feel like we hadn't had to, but his favorite receiver, Trey Gentry's been out. This week made 4 weeks he's been out with an injury, and he's actually getting some reps in practice this week, and we hope against Chuckey-Doak Friday night he gets maybe 10 reps, which is big for us. Just getting back out there, getting moving, because of course he's one of our better players, and it's we got real good receivers too, but him and Susong's got a real big connection out there that's real big. Jacob's missed him out there, so and I think when we get him back, it'll open everybody else up. Because Coach Trey's so dynamic when he gets his hands on the ball. So we haven't really talked about him this year, and it's a good thing that we're playing like we are without him. So we feel like we'll be even better when he comes back. So we're really looking forward to Trey to get back on the field this week, and then maybe by next week at Union County and the next week at West Greene, get him back to full strength.
We talk about the offense a lot because it's easier to keep those offensive stats, but the best stat of the night was the fact that the defense pitched a shutout again.
Right, yeah.
I mean, that's always a great night when the defense can pitch a shutout. I know Coach Case was probably ecstatic with that because how can you not be ecstatic as a defensive coach when you get your defense to pitch a shutout? And credit to them, I think 41 total yards was what Tate had the other night. Is that what you had
to do?
So
they had 41 total yards, yeah.
I mean, how impressed were you with the defense and how happy were you that you only allowed 41 yards in total?
Well, they were flying the football, and that's what you want to do. That's what you have to do. And we felt like in the preseason, and even up at Crockett, our defense didn't play bad. We just, we got tired a little bit at Crockett. I hate to keep harping on that, but so it wasn't like we just played bad that night when we got beat up there that first game. So the defense has been playing well. Again, we're just trying to build some depth. That was good to get those young guys in because we got to see who can play. When that first 11 gets tired or we need a break, we got to see what they can do. And so it was a wholesale change there in the second half, and they all played well and kept Cumberland Gap out of the end zone. So that was a big deal and fun to see and get everybody in the game. I think everybody's on the sideline, got in the game, and that's what you want to do in those kind of games.
And the important thing was, too, at the end of the day, we talk about the offensive stats. We talk about the defense pitching a shutout. Not only is it a win, it's an important region win, as we talked about.
That's right. We talk about you got to go 1-0 every week, and we was able to do that. And here in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we'll hope to go 2-0 and then keep going and try to get a conference championship, which we feel like we can do.
You go into a game this week that's not a region game, but it's ever important because, of course, it's the Chuckey-Doak Black Knights. We know the rivalry between Chuckey-Doak and South Greene. Those boys love playing in that game each year. I know you as a coaching staff love that game each year too because even though you've got the milk can game that has a trophy that represents that rivalry and the history behind it, it seems like the Chuckey-Doak-South Greene rivalry has been the most competitive out of the last few years. And I'm excited to see that one on Friday night. Before we talk about it a little bit, though, I want to go ahead and take a break. So stay tuned. We'll cover that Chuckey-Doak-South Greene game right after this break when we get a word from our sponsors here on Grassroots Media.
For more than 30 years, Tommy's Plumbing has served customers in East Tennessee with licensed and professional plumbing services. From installing your new faucet to replacing your existing piping system, our team at Tommy's Plumbing is trained to handle the job with professionalism, attention to detail, and integrity. By offering warranties on most products installed by our technicians, Tommy's Plumbing stands behind our work, ensuring that your plumbing needs are not only met, but that your problem is solved for the long term. When you need reliable and professional plumbing service, Tommy's is the only call to make. So give us a call today and let us show you the Tommy's difference. At Corner Pond, the friendly and knowledgeable staff has the experience necessary to help you out regardless the need. Have an item of value you'd like to pawn or sell? Corner Pond can help. They pawn numerous items of value, including firearms, tools, ammunition, silver, coins, and much more. When you walk through their doors, you'll find well-stocked shelves full of electronics, gaming systems, fishing and hunting equipment, car audio and accessories. And don't forget about the room full of guitars and basses and amplifiers, or their outside lawn and garden equipment. Corner Pond is a case knife dealer and carries numerous used knives as well. Stop by and let the friendly staff at Corner Pond help you today at 432 East Bernard Avenue, Greenville, Tennessee.
Welcome back to Grassroots Media. Welcome back to this week's edition of the Gary's Paint Body Shop Shawn Jones Show, where we cover everything on Rebel Hill with the South Greene Rebels football team. As always, I'm joined here with head coach Shawn Jones. So you've got Chuckey-Doak this week. It's a fun rivalry every single year. I think all the fans get a little more excited when that game rolls around. It's a non-region game, of course, but county rivalry games, everybody always gets up for those. You always get excited. I know you get excited for the Chuckey-Doak game every year. You're coming off of a win last year on a rare Saturday morning high school game. What a weird week that was last year. Hoping to get it played under the lights here on Rebel Hill on Friday night at 7 o'clock. When you go into that game, what are you expecting and what's your game plan?
Well, Chuckey-Doak and South Greene always are tough games. We always, it's like last year, we're sitting around our places packed trying to decide what to do, and me and Coach Taylor knew we had to play. I mean, that's the rival game, and that's a big game, and so that's one reason we decided to come back on Saturday morning, and it was a good game. We pulled away there, made an interception or late to seal it. So it's always big. It's Chuckey-Doak. That's what we come in here. It's a big rival game. I think I was talking to Brian Staten earlier today. We don't like Chuckey-Doak. But we're friends with them before the game and after the game. But during that game, it's a hate thing. That's just the way it is in football. So it'll be exciting to come here and get the Black Knights come here in Rebel Hill.
And I think that's something I've alluded to also. I don't want to outright say it because you don't want to pin that on some fans that, hey, you hate the other fans. But when you get on that field, it seems different. They're friends before the game, they're friends after the game. But when you get on that field, you want to beat each other. Yeah, and I think it's one thing that kind of makes that game exciting each and every year.
Now, the big thing of it is you live with those people the rest of your life and you get the bragging rights. I got some good friends with Chuckey-Doak my senior year. They beat us 3-2, and they still talk about it. It's
a baseball score.
Yeah, it was a baseball score. It's kind of crazy. So that's the big thing about it. It's going to be bragging rights, and again, it's your enemy out there when you step between those lines and that whistle blows. And we're going to play hard and we're going to play physical, and when the game's over, we'll pat them on the back and go on. But it's just during that game, it's Chuckey-Doak. That's what you have to say. And for years, the West Greens and Chuckey-Doaks and North Greens don't like South Greene, and and we know that. So we're going to go play the game and hopefully come out on top. And then afterwards, we'll be nice, and if they want to be nice, and then everything will be fine. But it's a community thing, and that's why you got to do it that way, and let the game go after the game's over. Because you like I say, you work together, kids gonna grow up together, but it's a good it's good memories on down the road with those memories, and you can talk about, hey, I did this too during that game and this, and usually you have big buddies later on in life that played at these schools. But when the game's going on, it's a hate thing.
Yeah. And then they're coming off of a loss to West Greene last week. They get back-to-back county games. They lost to West Greene. They got banged up a little bit. I think they came into this season looking for their identity because they were such a young team with a lot of new faces and new places. I guess you don't really want to say they're trying to find a new identity already this early into the season, but a lot of their main players are banged up. You won't see them on the field on Friday night. So I know you kind of don't know what to expect just because it's such a new team. You're not going to know what to expect as much now just because they've got some of those main players injured. But what are some of the formations and some of the schemes that they've played on offense that you're going to try to contain on Friday night?
Well, they're going to go the spread. They're going to try. It looks like they're going to run some buck and even some zone. And with some of the stuff they do. And of course, they're going to throw it. They got the quarterback back there, and again, everybody's talked all week. Oh, this is hurt. We're going into the game like everybody's playing.
Yeah.
So they got that great quarterback back there that can run around and do some stuff with his legs if he's playing. And of course, they got the great running back. He broke a record against Unaka, and again, we are preparing. No matter who plays, we know what they do, their formations and what they do. And if those guys play fine, if not great, we're prepared for them, and that's what we feel. And one things I've said this year, when you got young teams like Chuckey-Doak coming in here, we're the elder team. Let's go out there and play like it. I mean, we should go take care of business. We've been around the block a couple of times with these guys we got. Not saying that Chuckey-Doak ain't got a great team. It's just like we go to Crockett, they have a bunch of young guys, and they can play. They had a bunch of sophomores out there playing, and so. And we knew that, and so with these teams that come here that's young, even last week at Cumberland Gap, they're singing the blues how young they are, and we're like, yeah, okay, but you still got to play the game. We're still going to do what we got to do, and we'll take care of business, and that's what we got to try to do this week. Again, everybody's talking how young they are, and that's fine, but it's still Chuckey-Doak. We know what they're going to bring to the table. It seems like everybody plays their best against South Greene, so we will be prepared for them.
And I know Coach Case is going to be prepared for this game also. I think this is one of the games that he studies more film on. I think there's 3 that you could really pin. He gets excited for this game, the Milk Can game, and the Hampton game. So Coach Case is going to have those boys ready on Friday night. What are some of the things that he's prepared for that you think you'll see?
Oh, like I said, they're going to pull some guards and do some different stuff, and we just got to stay at home and then do our job. Like I say, I'm sure they're going to put athletes back there who can still do what the guys they had back there if they're not playing. So we're going to be prepared for that. Prepared for what they do. And again, sometimes when you have these situations, you worry about yourself. And we have this week of practice. Take care of ourselves, make sure we're doing what we're supposed to do. And you feel like if you do your job, be where you're supposed to be, it don't matter who they throw out there on the field. And that's kind of the philosophy we've had this week.
And I know your offense is coming off such a hot game, scoring 42 against Cumberland Gap. What do you think they'll see when they take the field on Friday night? What are some defensive formations?
Well, they're going to see some backers. They've done a lot. Chuckey-Doak, and they'll come out there odd front. It looks like they'll sometimes be in an odd front, sometimes they'll be an even front. So we're prepared for both. Depending on what people they move around, who they send off the edge, and different things. So we feel like we're prepared for them. We're going to try to run the football. It may be wet out here Friday night. Hoping it's not. Look like the rain may get out here. We hope so. We've got to prepare for that also. Prepare for maybe we're not throwing it a lot. We'll be prepared for Friday night no matter what happens. If it's a pretty night or a rainy night or what Chuckey-Doak throws at us defense, then we'll be prepared, ready to go.
Got 3 keys to the game each week that we talk about at the end of every interview. What are they this week when you take on the Black Knights?
Well, this week, we got to go out, take care of business. Make sure we line up correctly on defense and cover what we got and line up and have our assignment. We got to win the turnover battle. That's always big. And then we've got to take our opportunities and score. When we get the opportunities, we get the ball. We don't need to be punting a lot. We need to go out there and put some points on the board and just go from there.
You're looking to have another great weekend. Rebels win on Friday night, Vols win on Saturday, Cowboys on Sunday. Hopefully we get to talk next week, and that's the case. But until then, Coach, I appreciate you once again for sitting down with me. Who do the Cowboys have this week?
We've got the Saints. So it's going to be a tough game.
Manageable game.
Yeah, well, they scored. Saints, I think scored 57 the other day or 50-some. So we'll see what happens.
Great defense, though. Yeah, it's a good test early in the year.
Played well early Sunday, so we'll see what happens this week.
All right, Coach. That's all I've got for you. Thank you once again. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Gary's Paint Body Shop Shawn Jones Show. Look forward to seeing y'all next time here on Grassroots Media.